So my name's Peter Swift. I'm 53 years of age. I work for Adferiad and I'm a peer mentor in the Gwynedd area. I've been working for Adferiad for about 4 months now and I'm really enjoying it. My addiction, so I was addicted to most stuff I could get my hands on, including alcohol. I was intravenous drug user for heroin and crack cocaine 24 years ago. It was a daily basis, I had to do it on a daily basis. It was a lifestyle. I had to do crime to get what I needed to get. Yeah, it was. I kind of got to a point in my addiction where I never thought I would get out of addiction. I had thought that I would be a junkie all my life. So yeah, so some pretty grim times, some pretty dark times. But and I didn't know that people got into sobriety. I didn't know people got sober and clean. And I was fortunate enough to get some funding to go into a treatment centre which had a structured recovery programme, and it was a bit of an eye-opener when I went in there. I didn't expect anything different from before, because I used to go into lots of detox wings in hospitals. I'd get detoxed and then 6 weeks later they'd release me. I'd just go straight back into my old routine. But this was slightly different. It had a structured recovery program which gave me put lots of opportunities in my way. So yeah, so it was a bit of an eye-opener that there was other people in there who was in the same situation as me, and they were talking about enjoying life and being happy without the use of drugs and alcohol, which was alien to me, completely alien to me. So yeah, so when I finally I'd had enough, sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I had enough of my lifestyle and the addiction, I actually the opportunity was from the courts, believe it or not, from a judge. I went to court yet again, and the judge gave me an opportunity. He said, you either you go into a treatment program and sort your addiction out, or I'll just sentence you today. And he gave me an opportunity, which was a bit of an eye-opener, and I obviously chose the structured recovery program, instead of a sentence. So I took that opportunity, and he wanted me to come back 3 months later, and I came back 3 months later with glowing reports and a different person. So somebody gave me an opportunity, which was bizarre that it was a judge, because I used to absolutely despise the judges and the probation officers and the police. So it was an eye-opener that this judge just gave this person an opportunity. So yeah, and then I got into sobriety, got sober. I've been sober 24 years. I choose to do total abstinence. I know it's not everyone's journey, but that's what works for me. So I don't drink, don't take any drugs, and I'm happy, which is bizarre, because I used to take drugs and alcohol to kind of be happy, I guess, you know what I mean? So it was a solution to my problems. It was a solution to the way I felt, and that's why I took it for so long. So this new way of life, where I was in sobriety, it's just been a great journey. Yeah, stigma. I do remember being treated differently by professionals, by family members, because they just saw me as a junkie, a dirty junkie. And I kind of don't blame them in some way, because I had to I did some pretty horrendous things to get what I needed to get each day. But what I do remember is, like, some of the professionals. I used to be on a methadone script, and I'd go to these sort of like professional places, and I don't know if it was like this or not, but I just felt sometimes they were looking down the noses at me, because yet again I was doing that revolving door thing. I was detoxing, coming back 3 months later, detoxing, coming back 3 months later, and you could just see it in their faces sometimes. Here he is again, he's back. And yeah, you know, sometimes when I used to collect my methadone, you'd have to wee into a small jar, you know, to sort of like get your methadone and prove that you're sober, you know, that you're not taking street drugs. So yeah, and yeah, it was like I just felt it. I felt the stigma. You know what I mean? It's probably the way I looked. It's actually, you know, because I was you know, pretty sort of like thin looking, and yeah, just yeah, you could just feel the stigma, and you know, it would just reinforce my beliefs that I wasn't worth it. It reinforced my beliefs that sobriety or recovery, you know, I'm just going to die an addict, and that is it. In sobriety, I haven't had a massive amount of stigma in sobriety, but I have got a couple of examples. So my partner, basically, after about knowing their family, their mum and dad and their family knowing me for about 10 years, this subject came up, and she chose to tell her parents and the family that Pete's, you know, got experience in substance misuse. You know, he was an addict many years back, and today he's not. And it was quite interesting. Since then, they don't really they do talk to me, but they treat me differently, and they were quite shocked as well towards my partner. You know, they'd say to, you know, why are you with this person? You know, and prior to that, they just treat me as a normal person. You know, I was her boyfriend, and now it's just changed. It's changed the relationship quite a lot, which is quite sad. You know what I mean? Yeah, definitely. There was lots of times where I'd get with my addiction where I was just thought enough's enough, and I'd think and in my head about stopping. But the stigma I did get from people would often sort of make me, you know, it would just reinforce my beliefs that I wasn't good enough. It would reinforce my shame and my guilt and shame, you know, around the stuff I had to do to get the crime I had to do, and to the things I had to do to get the drugs. So when I did get stigma from people, from professionals or friends, sometimes family, then yeah, it would just reinforce my belief system that I'm not good enough. I'm definitely not going to do this, so I will carry on taking these drugs, even though I knew it was ruining my life. It just reinforced it that I wasn't good enough, basically. Yeah, I definitely think it's important to tackle stigma within the professional setting, maybe. Because, as I said before, for many years I chose not to get into recovery because I had this guilt and shame, and every time I experienced some stigma, it would just stop me making that next step. And it is important, you know, like addiction. You know, I'm not a bad person, you know what I mean? And even when I was doing the stuff I had to do, you know, the crime, the things I had to do on a daily basis to get my fix, my drugs and my alcohol, I believed I was a bad person. You know, I'm a bad person. But addiction, you know, I believe that it is an illness. I believe that, you know, people do suffer from an illness around it, just like mental health. And you know, if we don't tackle stigma, it can stop people just making that next step and coming to the professionals, you know, and coming to family members and getting honest with them. Sometimes people have addiction and they don't tell, you know, because it's quite also that when I talked about that I looked like an addict, I did look like an addict because of the drugs I was using. But sometimes people, you can kind of like get away with it. I've had friends who have been addicts who they just got away with it. They're professional people, you know what I mean? And they just got away with it for years and years and years because you can hide it. So if you was a professional and you was addicted to any substances, alcohol or substances, the stigma around addiction could stop them making that next step. And I've had a lot of friends who have had kids, women who've had kids. They're absolutely, sometimes, I remember very early in my sobriety, I'd speak to females who were like addicted to substances, and they wouldn't make that next step because they think the stigma, they think, right, you're a bad parent, social services are going to get involved, therefore I'm not going to make that next step and ask for help. I great believer that it's really important to celebrate recovery, because if we don't celebrate it, then there's people out there who are suffering from substance misuse and alcoholism, and if we don't celebrate it, they're not going to see that actually it is possible to live your life and enjoy your life and have an amazing time without the use of drugs and alcohol. So really important to celebrate it and let people know out there actually, you can make that next step. I'm 24 years sober and clean, and I've had an amazing time, and I continue to have an amazing time. Obviously life still continues, and we have life problems, but on the grand scale of things, I'm not sticking needles in my arm, I'm not sofa surfing, I'm not doing crime. So on the grand scale of things, life is amazing. I was really pleased when I saw that Adferiad was doing a campaign on stigma. I was really pleased because I thought, yeah, this is really good. It's a big charity, and it's really good to get that campaign out there. And I like to think that people would see the campaign and just realise that actually, I call it sobriety, recovery, whatever you want to call it, but it is possible, and you can enjoy it. You can enjoy life without the use of drugs and alcohol, if you're addicted to it, obviously. So it's really important to get it out there. I'm just pleased to be a part of the campaign, as in I'm passionate about trying to get out the information that recovery, sobriety is possible. If you're at that stage and you're ready, I had to be ready, and I was ready. And I can't believe I'm going to say this on camera, but I'm absolutely internally grateful to that judge. And I leave it there. Thanks.